if you can start with your introduction, please, and your bit of your resume, please.
Oh goodness. So I'm Steve. Um, Whoa, resume. I'm Director of Research at the university. Undergrad, postgrad, and PhD, all from Imperial College in London.
Wow.
Undergrad was geology. So I travelled various bits of the world doing field work. And then my main thesis on that was on fuzzy clustering of rock data. Then I did my MSc, and I transferred from geology to engineering geology. And that one is what got me into the civil engineering sphere where I'm now working.
Yeah.
Mainly because from a geology degree you've only got a few options. You can do environmental, you can go into the petroleum industry, or you do something more in the engineering field, all of which require a specialisation. You can do mining as well, but that's also engineering-ish. So I did my thesis on that one on Winchester Cathedral, and the foundations beneath the cathedral. And then I did my PhD on mudrock, which is very, very fine-grained rocks and their structures, it's a really interesting material because it is made up of so many different types of minerals. Like the mudrock is not really a material in itself, it is a grain size. So you could have, I don't know, flour, like cooking flour. You could have anything of that size, and it is mudrock. The same as sand. Anything that is the right size is a sand. So grains, beans, the quartz sand that we've got in the desert, they behave in the same way.
Why were you interested in geology as a kid? Were you collecting rocks, or when did you realize I'm into geology?
I had no choice really.
Okay.
I wanted to be a musician, and I went to a very, very poor school in the UK, and they came to the music class at GCSE level, O level, and they said, you can do your music GCSE with a printed paper keyboard.
Okay.
Because we've only got 25 keyboards and there's 28 to do this class, or you can do geology, and they just picked 3 people at random and said that. So I gave up on my music career then, and did the geology class, because who would want to do music on a paper keyboard and then do an assessment?
Yes.
And all 3 of us agreed to that.
True.
It was a very poor school, such that there were 10 of the lowest schools in the UK in terms of numbers that they sent to university. And for those 10 schools, the government paid you if you went to university. Okay. So I had it was about £1,000 per semester to go to university because I went to that school. And there were only about 3 of us in the whole of the school that ended up going to university for my year.
Are these 3 from the geology?
No. 1 electrical engineer, 1 mathematics, 1 geology.
No, from the school. So 3 of you were picked from music class that you have to go to geology, right?
Yes, and then 3 went on to university, but a different 3.
Okay, so I thought it's the same 3. Wasn't it a challenge spending so much time in the same institute, or was it easy for you, so everyone knows you know the equipment, where it is, and how to find your way around?
Well, that was also something that wasn't really my choice. Let's see. I wanted to do an MSc, but I needed to have a funded MSc because I couldn't pay for it myself because I was doing it directly after the degree.
Yes.
And because I had done a integrated master's as my undergraduate, I couldn't get government funding or student loan for it, which is why it had to be funded. And I was doing my hydrogeology course. I spoke to the person there about doing the MSc Engineering Geology, and they said, well, you're far too late. All of the funding is gone. There's no way you can do it. Next day, I got an email and they said, someone's pulled out of the course. If you can get your application and your professor's reference letters in today, then you can go on to the course and it will be funded. So I did that. And that was the 1 extra year at Imperial. Then for the PhD, between my undergraduate and master's, I started working for Jacobs Engineering, and they were happy for me to stop to do the MSc on the agreement that I would then rejoin them.
And pay them back.
They were not paying me while I was away. It was an informal agreement. And then while I was doing my MSc, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had a requirement to then attend the hospital once a week for monitoring, and the costs to the company were very high. That's like 4 days a month. That's 20% of your time, and in engineering, time is what the company sells. So you, in employing someone, you want to be able to use their time. So it didn't make any sense for me to then go back to the company. And again, I spoke to someone at the university about this, and they said, look, we've got this PhD program. As long as you work on it, you don't have to be in the university every day. You can spend your day, 1 day a week at the hospital, as long as you keep working on the project. And so I was signed up. That was the second PhD project that they tried to get me onto. The first one was actually a geological survey of Pakistan.
That's first. Very sorry to hear about that. The cancer. I'm very sure it's taken care of.
Many years ago. I stopped having to be monitored after 5 years. The probability after 5 years of recurrence is incredibly low.
I'm very glad you mentioned Pakistan somewhere in between. You did your PhD, or were you offered this as a PhD?
I was signed up to it. I started on the program. I did about 8 weeks, and then the funding was changed. So the program was a partnership between Imperial College and a university in Italy. And Imperial College was doing the geological survey, and the university in Italy was doing the structural seismic design of buildings. And the idea was to try and increase the preparedness for earthquakes within Pakistan, so that to change the construction codes to account for earthquakes. But with the rebalancing of the funding, less to geology and more to the structural engineering, it just was not affordable anymore to employ me.